Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today, and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting, to take time and read the 32-odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are 2 speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England. And a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photograph very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it was so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do.
True.
And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have...
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV, broadcast all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. Viewers in London also and elsewhere in United States of America, good morning. Good morning, our viewers on Ground Zero in Cameroon. Good morning. Wherever you are in Nigeria, Biafra, where the conflict is, good morning. Wherever you are in the rest of the world, in Europe, whatever you are doing, waking up, going to work, 8 o'clock in London and several other cities in Europe, those reporting on duty, good morning. Good morning. This is a Pan-African television bank station that brings you African news, is a think tank for the African people to listen. We store news for Africa and give it to you, to the world. You choose how you can do business. We advise on solutions. We give our suggestions. And good morning, Kenya. With me in the studio is none other than a Kenyan German, a teacher by name Miriam Ogutu. Good morning, German teacher.
Good morning, Dr. Matsanga. How are you today?
Fine.
Your shirt looks very nice.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes. I've gone African. I've decided to go back to the roots.
Yes, you're representing very well.
Yes, so that you saw my show last night evening, Matsanga Perspective.
Yes.
Was on hot. And the people have thanked me so much for, one, having the only person today or the other to make that I bring to them the effects of the trauma or the tremor that swept from Spain all the way to Ndanyit up to the Indian Ocean.
Yes.
I was the only one. We were by 0.3 million.
Wow.
They saw me on that clip, and I believe Fred should keep it for memory that I was, as the earthquake finished or started shaking, I was the only person.
Who had the breaking news?
Oh, yes. The rest of the television stations in Africa didn't have any.
Caught up an hour later.
Yes, they caught up an hour later at 9 o'clock. Thank you, Miriam.
Yes.
They were saying, but thank you very much. 2.3 million people worldwide heard my voice explaining the platonic movements of the Indian Ocean and the volcanic era movements in the Rift Valley, all the rift that takes shape through the Sahara down to Kenya, through Lake Rudolph, now called Lake Turkana, and it goes all the way, it splits. One goes through the Rwenzori and then Tanzania, and it goes down. The Rift Valley. Most of our people watching, younger generation, they don't know that this was once the history that all of us were told, if you don't do it, you have a problem. And we had to do it. We have to read that geography. We have to read everything to know about the Rift Valley, the effects, the volcanic effects, the lava, the soil, the movement, the terrain.
And speaking of which, it was not that very small thing, because parts of Narok Road towards Narok Bomet Road has really experienced a very big rift.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it has exposed in Narok?
Yes.
Corrupt road builders.
True. Very much so.
Miriam, that's your subject there.
Yes.
And you hit them hard. Corrupt road builders. This trauma that passed showed us what we are running on, a risk. People have just put metals and a few cement and earned money. This is why Africa has a problem. This morning, Miriam, before I hand over the microphone to you, we shall be looking the fallout in the Supreme Court, in the Judiciary of Kenya. Is there, are there people protecting people not to lose their jobs? I'm candid. Once I'm given instructions, I work on those instructions. And I have no regrets. Of the courts in Kenya, you can go to Jupiter, come to Mars, come to Sun if you can escape the sunshine. As long as the Supreme Court exists with Maraga present and Amwiru, Mr. President, forget the war on corruption. It will never end. It's going to be used. The earlier you move, the earlier the Kenyans move to realize that this court is not a functioning court, the better for you people. I'm speaking from an experience. People can go back and ask the man who did a petition, sit with him and promise him journeys and journeys, and withdraw the cases, because we protect our man. We are protecting our person. This thing of protecting our person, where will it take us? I have talked, and I am one of the few that every meetings of some lumpens, wherever they sit, they discuss Dr. Matsanga. Why don't you discuss the president? I'm not the president of Kenya. I'm just a simple journalist. An investigator. I have never gone to that state house ever to ask for tea, coffee, or even money for transport to go home. I'm sorry. And I have to tell the truth. So don't discuss me. Don't waste your time. I am going to say the truth. Whether I'm in this country or in South Africa, Zimbabwe, or in Britain, I will even say what's truth. until this thing of corruption is wiped out. I'm fighting for Africa and for Kenyans. You cannot threaten me. You cannot sit in your meetings where you sit up to midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., discussing people. Go ahead. But for me, the president called out to people to do what? To help him. I'm one of the volunteers who helps the president. That's it, to talk about it. And that one, you don't need a bigger passport than just to be with a microphone and knowledge on how to do it. Mm-hmm. I have not told people not to tell the story of the truth about the starvation and the hunger. Journalists are going in Turkana. They are interviewing people on the ground. Then we come back and say there is nothing going on there. Hello.
Money was released last week.
Yes.
Emergency.
Hello. Look at that. We released the money just last week.
Even just the headlines there.
Turkana family feeds on roasted camera skin. Where was the governor when these men were feeding on camera skin, this family? He's ever in Nairobi also trying to wear shoes and good shoes and shirts to pose around, to look for media girls. I'm going to do a lot of damage on this guy. You know what? For me, I have respected President Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't want, you know what? These guys, how can you come and your own people are dying? You are busy trying to go to shops looking for suits. Suits, you find soldiers are standing outside. GSU escorts standing outside, plain cloth. You might think there is a head of state inside. It's a governor. A governor of a county whose people are dying. Whose people are dying. He's busy shopping for suits. Shoes, new shoes, these ones which they put in without socks.
Oh, the sandals.
No, the one without socks. Hush puppies, something.
Hush puppies from...
Yes.
Okay.
The ones Matanga wore 32 years ago. You see, some people are also trying to come to size.
Hush puppies, it comes in different designs.
Yes, there's the one for Italians. Some people also have copied some things. You know, when you come from a place where there are so many difficulties, you can land into problems. War, and Jesus said, watch out. Don't admire what you cannot do, the commandment. Live within your means. And they are leaving people dying there. They are crying, Kenyatta, Kenyatta. What can Kenyatta do when the money was sent to you to feed the people on the ground? Take out that money, stop the project of the school, go and use it and tell the central government, I bought food for my people. Everybody here in this country will be very happy with you.
Yes.
And nobody will touch you, even Auditor General. We can tell Mr. Ouko, keep off. But you said the money is there. You are calling for a cultural activity.
Is it still going to
Who is going to dance?
Maybe he'll get the urban to us to go dance.
Maybe. No, Karamojongs from Uganda should not come this side today. Because people here are dying. People are going across to Uganda to seek water. Please, Ugandans, give them water. Please. These are our brothers. I appeal to you in Karamoja to allow the Tukans, as long as they don't come with their guns, please, I appeal to you. Give them water. Those women should not walk a distance. Then you tell them, you leave your cow and take it. Please, please, allow them. I am appealing Because this is what leaders are not doing. I am appealing for Karamojongs in Moroto, in Nakapiripiri, in Kidepo, in all these places. Nabiratuk, all those places, I know them by hand, by head, by stomach, by heart. Allow our brothers from West Pokot, let them have, as long as they don't come with guns. Because President Museveni has said, no gun, no gun. You come there with a gun. In fact, I don't know why President Kenyatta cannot allow President Museveni, as they are meeting tomorrow, allow Museveni to disarm these guys. If they cannot be disarmed. Allow these men and the women who have no food, please, to take some water. Please. Don't put too many conditions that I saw you putting on BBC, that you leave one cow for one day, each of the family. No, 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 no. That's not African spirit. That's not a Pan-African spirit. The border people should help each other. Tomorrow it is in Turkana. Tomorrow it could turn on Karamoja. So allow them to use the water that President Museveni and Madam Janet Museveni were able to harness and build without stealing the dam money. No dam money was lost in Karamoja. Those who stole money for Karamoja, one of them went to jail for 3 years. Tried to steal some global fund. President Museveni even wrote a letter to, he was his vice chairman of the party. He's called Captain Mukura. He was locked in, you know him.
His own person. Yeah,
he was locked in. He had destroyed and then he came back with $60,000 to pay. Walimushika. Asema, oh.
He paid and he was locked
in. That is the 2 years. The whole vice chairman of the National Resistance Army tried to steal money, or allegedly, that not allegedly, because the court found him guilty. He was locked for 2.5 years in Luzira.
And he got to pay.
Yes.
And that is what should be happening here, Dr. Matsanga.
He paid, but here they will not. Here they scam on it. The judiciary first, but let me give you a chance to go on Africa.
Yes, so that
then
I can allow you
I spared. You know, look at this.
Yes.
You find the governor is competing with other people buying suits in a shop in Nairobi. His people are dying. He's not on the ground.
Like, what is he still doing in Nairobi, playing PR, going to all these media houses and giving interviews while your people are feeding on roasted camel skin? Surely.
Playing politics and media girls. You know, media girls have now seduced everybody. Except me. And my Miriam, we are not part of the seducing angle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And do I hide? That's the danger now.
Yes.
That is the danger of why people cannot even know. I saw a younger man called yesterday called Itumbi. Silly boy. And honestly, it is not worth it. Why does the government not get somebody to explain
what did
the patterns on any? Is it press pass? I felt like I vomited 4 times, not because I have any hatred, but because if you are explaining something you can't explain, it is really very bad. It is very clear. Journalists have gone down. We have seen the pictures. We better have a better explanation because this thing is now spinning out of. I don't know where the government spokesman is. Why can't the government spokesman take the responsibility and take on this television and the media, issue a statement that will make everybody understand the situation. Already we have the Red Cross is in chaos. Okay, the Red Cross is in chaos, and it cannot explain to us why 5-7 years
down the line
it has not been able to complete some of the projects that money was given, and then they are giving us they're giving Kenyans explanation.
But they were able to put up a hotel and put up a television.
And they were able to become commercial entities.
And complete that, but not complete projects that were targeted into helping Kenyans and finding solutions to some of these things that we trusted them with our money that we contributed.
Kenyans are saying, sorry. Red Cross, I don't think he has got 5 million this time. People refused. Yeah, maybe corporate companies like Safaricom will contribute, but nobody is contributing to anything to do until people have refused.
Yes.
I mean, people have now, I have liked the way Kenyans are refusing. Slowly, they are picking this spirit of saying, no, we are fed up with it.
Enough is enough.
We are fed up with corruption. A minister comes and says, no, you go back.
Because now it looks like corruption is catching up even in places like Red Cross. Because how else can you explain why they haven't done what they're supposed to do?
If a Swiss man...
Did I see lost in vehicles? They bought vehicles or what? The damn money.
Don't even go there. I brought that story of the damn money with another missus of a senator buying a car from there, from this money.
Yes.
And the people said I'm stupid. Now, is it? I even said that the number plate of the dam money.
Oh, that is for the Aurora and Kimorel.
Yes.
Dams.
If people can go to the extent to buy towels when there was no water for swimming in the dams, can't you think that Kenyans are crazy?
Wow. And 28 of the cars were found in private warehouses in Nairobi. Why? Anyway, I think you'll get into that when you'll be tackling the issue on corruption in Kenya, which...
Miriam, we have...
You're asking why I look so exhausted nowadays? Things like this.
Yeah, don't get exhausted.
Things like this.
Don't give up.
Kenyan make me so mad.
Even me, I am not giving up. First of all, I am insulted on Facebook throughout. The only orphan left defending Uhuru Kenyatta is Matanga. The rest have moved where money matters. Okay? I am left. When I come, one man has taken over Tanga group. One, me. I put my thing here, they cry. One. And those who are trying me, ask Mzee Raila Odinga and the ODM, they will tell you, I'm a very bad battalion man, a commander. This group here, I have not started yet. Even if you bring the match, we know what you are planning. I know what you are planning. I'm aware. But that one will be a wind, I will go over it. Unfortunately, as you plan, I'm like an Israeli. I know what you want to do. Yes, I'm aware. And you see, I know what they are doing. Because I am the only one left on social media now, standing in for my friend. I am not going to give up. You will not molest Uhuru Kenyatta when this man is seeing. Because you molested him in 2008. And you left him without anybody guarding him. You molested Ruto in 2008. You wanted them to be killed, to be taken and slaughtered. I'm going to give up. Hallelujah. I will not give up. Touch them, I will come. Bring it on. You touch the president, I am coming. You insult him, By the way, me, I don't block. Did you know I don't block people? I'm the only one who doesn't block people. I allow them to say what you do, but I just pick one pen and answer back. You might think twice before coming back on my wall. I allow people to do what they do. But as long as I'm fighting for the truth, a Pan-African vision, which I've seen, there is a Pan-African vision in Kenya. There is a man in Kenya who loves Pan-Africanism. And I'm not going to let them go down. Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, they are Pan-Africanists. I will not fail them. I will not leave them alone. Intimidation is not going to make me run off. But I'm an Israeli operative. If you look at me, I'm like the Israeli who counted as Egypt was going to bomb Sinai and bomb Tel Aviv. They came, they saw, they wiped out the whole Egyptian army, plus the Air Force. Zero. The war with Gabriel Nasser ended 1967. Golan Heights were taken. Sinai was taken. The Sinai Peninsula was taken.
And they're rebuilding the Golan Heights right now.
The Golan Heights now have been officially, after Syria has been beaten. Walipiga Syria paka inachemuka. Although I don't like the American policy on Syria, but now it has given Israel to come and occupy nicely. You know, this war has produced something that could not have happened conventionally. I'm sorry for taking you into the subject of international security and arrangements and rearrangement.
It's okay.
But that's it. Corruption can breed. And let's see what happens, take over from there.
All right. We thank you so much, our viewer, wherever you're watching us from. Indeed, it is a very good morning here. It is the 26th day of March 2019, and just about 33 minutes past 11 a.m. East African time. Thank you so much. And this is the latest happening in Africa. This morning we start with Sudan, where Sudanese Information Minister Hassan Ismail has intimated that the country is suffering a crisis that is economic in nature, contrary to claims that it is a state of political crisis. The minister was responding to accusations of repression by press rights group. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo's Ebola epidemic has now exceeded 1,000 cases, the health ministry said on Monday, with a death toll of 629 in the world's second worst ever outbreak. Health workers have been better prepared than ever for this latest epidemic of the hemorrhagic fever. And we go to Mali, where the United Nations Security Council is in Mali and Burkina Faso for an up-close look at the worrisome Sahel region. A jihadist insurgency is showing no signs of weakening and is driving mass displacement into the region. Led by France, Germany and Ivory Coast, the visit will be the Council's fourth to Mali since 2014 and the second to Burkina Faso. We go to Angola, where former first son Jose Filomeno dos Santos on Sunday was released from prison where he had been held up for 7 months in an embezzlement case. The prison spokesperson Menezes Kasoma told AFP News that the son of Angola's former president Jose Eduardo dos Santos has been free since Sunday afternoon. Dos Santos had been accused of attempting to steal $1.5 billion during his time at the helm of Angola's Sovereignty Wealth Fund. And in Mozambique, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs indicated that it will send relief assistance to Mozambique as the country recovers from the destruction left by Cyclone Idai. More than a week after the disaster, Mozambique is in a state of emergency, and the logistical challenge here is immense due to the difficult access to the areas affected by the cyclone. Still in Mozambique, a ship carrying 2,000 tons of food, water, and sanitary supplies donated by locals in Mozambique has arrived in the port city of Beira, which bore the brunt of Cyclone Idai 12 days ago. And we come to Kenya, where 3 senior judges in Kenya have proposed lowering the age of sexual consent to 16 years from the current 18 years. 3 Court of Appeal judges are opposing lengthy jail terms imposed on young men for sleeping with teens who are willing to be and appear to be adults. We go to Ethiopia, where a mother and her 4 children have died after a vehicle exploded in their village in Ethiopia's Somali region. Local residents have said one of the children found the device outside and was playing with it when it detonated. And in Tanzania, Tanzania's President John Magufuli has promised to give each player in the national football team a piece of land as a reward for qualifying for the African Cup of Nations. For the first time in 39 years, Mr. Magufuli hosted the team at his official residence in the main city, Dar es Salaam, after they qualified for Egypt 2019 by beating Uganda 3-0 on Monday. And in South Sudan, a South Sudanese activist who was studying for a PhD at the Cambridge University has been charged with terrorism, having spent 8 months in detention with limited contact with the outside world. AFP has reported that Peter Biar Ajak, 35 years old, was detained in July last year following comments he made criticizing the failure of Sudan's political leaders to bring 5 years of brutal civil war to an end. And we go to Zambia, where the opposition leader spent the weekend in police cells after he was arrested for allegedly defaming President Edgar Lungu. Sean Tembo, who leads the Patriots for Economic Progress, made a series of posts on social media in which he questioned President Lungu's mental state. And we end with Ghana, where authorities in Ghana say they will introduce speed limits devices to prevent traffic accidents in the country, where an average of 6 people die on the roads every day. Commercial vehicles with engine capacity of 3.5 liters or more will be targeted. The top speed will be on the type of the vehicle. And that is the latest from Africa this morning. I am Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.
Good morning. Again, Africa, good morning, wherever you are. In the Kenyan capital, the Daily Nation said, inside ODM plan to impeach Ruto. Siaya Senator James Orengo
started a fire, yeah.
Has started a fire. And this fire, although it might, as a constitutional expert like myself, yes, a man who read constitutionalism to a certain level, I wish I had taken the constitutional law up to the end. I see it is an exercise that can bring damage, but it cannot go through because you are only playing politics for this other gentleman who actually has mobilized and has troops. Most of the, you see, yes, I don't know whether Senator Orengo should have come to listen to our program last night. No, people in Africa like the person you are oppressing, whom they call our savior. If you have got some money in Africa, you are good to go.
And when you seen as
but if you come empty, yes,
it's a reverse psychology.
Yes,
they want to come and help you. Yes, especially when they think you are their savior.
You can see Orengo today.
Yes,
is helping Madame Mwiru in court right now.
Yes.
That's the same Orengo.
One of his lawyers, or of her lawyers, yes.
Lawyers. After 50 lawyers came to help a person who was allegedly.
She must be very loved. 50
she
lawyers.
Loved, you know, she's a woman. She has both the love, the good. She is beautiful.
Maybe she's also good, I don't know, when because 50 people are lawyers coming to help you. There must be something about you that is attractive.
But that's why I'm coming to say the fallout in court.
Yes.
In the Kenyan court.
Yes.
That's the fallout we see. Orengo is trying to impeach William Ruto. But he is standing by DCJ Mwiru. So it doesn't help me in my brain.
It's conflicting.
Yes, my brain veins start running up zigzag. So I don't want to have a headache. But you can see for yourselves.
I think at this point, even the impeachment motion is a bit confusing to Kenyans. A lot of them are feeling, is there really a need to impeach Vice President William Ruto at this point in time?
Yes, and you impeach him when you have not even got any You haven't.
There are no formal allegations.
Allegations. These are hearsay.
Allegations, but there's no formal. Yes.
Some of the money is there.
Yes.
Money is being dished. Money is given to Korea and the others to buy helicopters. Yes, but there is no evidence.
He's not been charged. There's no evidence. Nobody has taken
you have not charged the deputy president.
Yes.
So you cannot come and say you are going to fix him on this charge. Let the DCI move. Let the DCI, they have the report in their hands.
Let them take it to the right.
They have the report. Everybody who has been arrested, taken to Muthaiga and this police station, he has said above.
And when they find him culpable, let him now come to Parliament.
Yes.
And table.
And then table. But now this is very terrible, media, sensational, hoggish. What name can I give? Hoggish what?
Hoggish just tops it all.
I stop it all. This is Orengo.
Yes.
And the people in Ogenya, Ogenya did not want to hear this. If you are playing politics, Ocheny, that Ocheny who speaks Uganda,
yes,
that Ocheny wins elections without even Ruto's money. I know Ocheny. He always beats. He won that election first. And he can beat this man of yours, of ODM. Whoever has put this guy here. Because this guy is useless in parliament.
Orengo.
No. The Ugenya seat. Ocheny, you know that Ocheny they are talking about. He doesn't need funding.
The one they say is a mole for... Yes.
Yes, he doesn't need funding. Ocheny ODM in that constituency on another ticket before.
Yes.
He doesn't need funding from Deputy President Ruto. No.
He doesn't need.
That's also at the time to put things right. Jermaine. So why was Orengo has never apologized to me. You know, this is also the time for me to square some things here.
You have a bone to pick with.
I have a bone.
Yes.
He stood in a crowd of 1 million people. He said, Uhuru Kenyatta allows Lowassa to be here. And another Ugandan called Dr. Matsanga. The crowd wanted to kill me. They looked for where my house is. I'm telling you. And this is a friend of mine whom I helped for rent. Me, I always talk the truth.
Who?
Well, the office was being auctioned.
Oh, really? Okay.
There are so many things that I can also say.
Okay.
His law firm was not doing well. I came with him on Sky News from London, Wagwan. But God helps. One day, this man now put me, men were going to kill me. You remember this campaign was bad. I had to hide in the house. Orengo had announced my whole name, the whole world. Over 2 million people. You remember that crowd that was at Uhuru Park?
Always.
No, that was a special day, the final rally.
Oh, yes.
Of before 2017 first election, Orengo put my name out.
Yes.
A friend of mine that I respect so much wanted me to be reached. So whatever he touches, I'll never agree.
So it's personal.
Now it becomes, oh yes, it becomes personal.
Okay.
Me, I say the truth. Why should I have no problem? But it has no hatred. Whenever he meets me, I tell him, James, let me have a drink. And he will pay the bill. Slowly, I recoup my little money. I have no problem, man.
Yes.
There are so many things, but for a man to come and announce that Lowassa and Matsanga are here, what were we doing here? Which was wrong. Their friends, his friends of Uhuru are here. They don't allow our people to come. But me and Orengo was going to be killed, and we had to keep him in Uganda. Remember? Moi was looking for this guy like hell, but people don't remember. I like Baba for one thing. He remembers. But in some of these people, so in this plan won't go through.
Yes.
Teachers' plans for 100 million. Mzee, anza kujenga nyumba kwanza. Human beings are not good. We're on a plan for community. Yes. Even Jesus, if he was given a chance and he was not son of God, he would have regretted.
But he's saying he'll, you know, he's a priest. I think he's a Catholic priest, so he really doesn't need the priest. The wealth. It's not really what they.
Yeah, but then build.
Let him build a computer lab for the school.
Yeah, that's okay. Computer lab for the school, that's okay.
Yes.
And the rest, give your mom and the father if they are present.
Yes.
Please.
That's a good suggestion.
Put it in the fund. Waafrika, they don't say thank you.
No, they don't. Very few.
Mimi nakwambia wewe mzee, wewe mwalimu, tena unaanza na wewe sasa pesa. You need counseling.
But you know, he
needs the counseling.
He'll remain with 20 million. How much will the government charge? I will tax on that.
They can't tax. This is a donation.
You don't think they'll
no
like 30 million or something?
An award. How would you tax an award? What about if he was given gold?
Normally they tax in some countries.
No, if he was given gold. A golden plate, will you tax it, cut it halfway?
And go sell it, you can't tax it.
A man who was paying, this man should be exempted.
Instead of tax, yeah.
The guy was paying for students that teachers don't pay. People now, they splash money on rallies and the funerals and the meetings. But people are dying in Karamoja. Sorry, Turkana. Nobody is taking 6 helicopters to drop food there.
If he was to be taxed, actually, they'll have to take 30 million. But I hope they don't tax him.
30 million?
Can you imagine? If he was to be taxed,
when the guy was,
they don't tax him, so that, because the money will go to good use. You know, 30 million can change lives at the village that he works.
Why doesn't the president just give him a tax?
He should. He should be exempted.
Waiver.
Waiver, yes.
Yeah, this man has done a very good job.
He deserves a waiver.
He deserves a tax waiver.
Yes.
Please, we appeal for people to look at that. Meet us before. Now the MPs, they have now realized that the president is very important. And they are saying meet us house address. So what do you want to do if he doesn't meet you?
He's supposed to be giving the State of the Nation address.
I think next week.
Yes. So they want, they're asking the president to, these MPs from his party.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary.
To do what?
Being that president
you look at the man who is, look at the guy who is asking, Washali. Which side does he belong to?
Washali is in Jubilee.
If he comes the way he comes, president, knowing this president.
But maybe president needs just to meet with his members of parliament. So
no, he needs to.
Can just calm them down.
They need to not to calm down.
We need some order.
No, he needs to read the riot.
A riot act.
Yes.
I think he's done that before.
No, he goes there now. Now Your Excellency.
The night meetings.
In political science, this is the right time to read the riot to some people, and get the facts clear, and tell the whole problem that this is the problem.
Yes.
And I know the president is very capable of doing that. You will see some of them will come from that place when they are as cold as chicken that has fallen in the water. Yes.
He's done that several before, and then just after the meeting,
they go and do
night meetings.
Yes.
On their own.
You can't believe the number of night meetings
that happens
here. People leave at 4. They only sleep for 1 hour, and they are already up again.
Then I cannot be a politician. I love my sleep way too much.
Okay.
Yes.
This one, MPs want to meet the president. Yes, that's a good gesture. Raila allies plot to impeach Ruto. This is the one. It is on the daily, People's Daily,
yes,
which is a free newspaper in this country. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, Miriam. That is the African news headlines.
Yes, and just before, I know you're going to speak about the topic of the day,
yes.
And I'll give you some time to do that. But I'd like us to look at what is happening in Tanzania. The president, he decided to buy the national team each to award them a piece of land. Because in Africa we have a lot of talent, and we only see our own shine out there and being appreciated out there. So what does that say of building our own youth and building our own talent and encouraging our young people to just,
Thank you very much.
From
Kowang Pal Chol Renly. Yes.
How are you today, Con?
How are you, comrade?
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your kind words.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
The viewers, wherever you are, thank you. Miriam is asking why Tanzanian president
has
awarded his footballers in the last 39 years.
They've not been to Africa.
Even when Nyerere was still alive, these guys have never reached African quarterfinals. They play very well. I hope President Museveni is listening.
Yes.
Before he comes to Kenya tomorrow. Also, our football team has gone to AFCON.
Yes.
I think in the many years.
Yeah, Uganda's also.
Yes, we were also not there. Surprisingly, Burundi. You know, God has his ways of doing his things.
Of equalizing.
Yeah. Of equalizing
yes.
hatred and versus this unity. The hatred that Burundi is a hated state within East Africa lands Burundi in AFCON in Egypt. Rwanda misses out. Cameroon is in turmoil somewhere. A football club.
Yes.
Was it the national football team?
Yes, it had been kidnapped, but they were released on Wednesday last week.
Yes. We shall come to Cameroon and see.
Kidnap a whole national team. Can you believe
there
it?
Is a photograph that shows corruption. The 27 names of the people that were told never to step in the United States of America, as long as the United States of America survives on planet Earth, before the North Korea has switched on that short guy switches on the bomb. Yes.
Oh no.
Thank you very much.
Alafu, how are you this morning? He's saying, Doctor, the moment I signed, my eyes went directly to your shirt. Who is your designer? I like it.
Thank you very much. This is African. My designer apparently is National Youth Service of Kenya. I can give you the address. We have Kenya has said no more uniforms, no more shirts.
When I saw the news yesterday, I remembered you and I laughed so hard because yesterday here you were asking, but where is the super minister? I told you he might have been busy. See, he's been busy.
Yeah, the super minister was working so well.
Yes, quite.
Yes, he saved 700 million
from being looted.
From being looted by Quangos.
Monkey business people.
And the monkey business people. There are many. Dr. Matiang, get it, man. Yes. There are many Quangos.
Let him finish with the uniform.
Yes, I think he's watching. But this shirt is excellent. Thank you very much. Everybody today has said it. And we patterned up with my partner in all activities except one. That when it reaches evening time, kila mtu anaenda kwake. Am I right?
Of course.
Yes, Miriam is Mrs. and the doctor is also Mr. and Mrs. So there is no link at all.
Just tell them we're partners in wanting to see a better Africa.
A better Africa. We are partners.
Yes.
We are partners of seeing a better Cameroon,
yes,
a better Amazonia,
better Kenya.
The people liberated,
yes,
the people liberated,
yes, the
people have dignity, the people have equality, fraternity.
And we are here to speak for those.
And they're here to speak for those
for us to speak
on ground zero who are not able to speak.
And speak truth to power also.
Yes. Thank you. The situation in Kenya, because we are coming at the top 4 minutes to, the situation in Kenya, the fallout in the Supreme Court has left many Kenyans wondering as to why these judges are worth calling judges. The situation is so bad, so confusing, that tribes and the tribesmen are protecting their own people from final entry into the JSU to answer several charges. As we speak right now, the entire judiciary of the Republic of Kenya is under siege. Under siege because the Chief Justice is incompetent, is not able to know the head, the tail, the stomach, and the heart. Everything in the court is in a confused state. Over 5 judges have cases or have been rumored allegedly to have taken money and picked money and used it for some other activities. The situation therefore calls for the people of Kenya to rise up to make sure that they put pressure that the Chief Justice and his entire crew can live. As we speak today to you, because I want to summarize this and close this subject, the fallout in the court pits the Chief Justice, who is the main man, who has a petition around his neck. In normal democracies, such a Chief Justice should have packed and shipped and left. But the democracies in Africa always use tribal enclaves. They always go back to their tribes and say our man is being harassed. Remember, in Africa we praise the thieves, but we don't praise good people. We don't praise the teacher. We are now seeing the teacher who has done a very commendable job. But you will not hear about this teacher after 2 weeks. Nobody will visit him to see how the money was spent. Everybody will be not even bothering to see that teacher from Kenya who once won 100 million shillings for having been a good man paying school fees from his salary. But they will be praising thieves, the men who walk around posh with new suits, new shirts, new style of speaking, telling people, and then making younger people MPs to copy how they talk. That's the way they do their things in Kenya. You know that. But the comedies are talking how people talk. How do you go to Churchill and you imitate a person who has stolen even money? I wouldn't like to imitate a person who has stolen money or alleged to be a corrupt person. I would rather not. But here we are in the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. 6 judges out of 7 have a petition. Therefore, viewers, I leave it to you that we must tell the truth that these courts deserve better. The Chief Justice pack and ship. If you pack and ship, you would have done a great deal for Africa. President Uhuru Kenyatta, your legacy is at stake. The legacy cannot be completed if the judiciary is still the same under Chief Justice Maraga. Change the judiciary and then take the suspects to be convicted or released according to the evidence. Viewers, that is our take. That's my take on the corruption in the judiciary in Kenya today. Thank you very much. We take a 1 minute breather. When we come back, we have a very interesting topic. And myself, I'll take it on with Miriam, who will come in later. I want to look at case studies, especially where conflicts have been. My Nigerian friends and Cameroonian friends, President Paul Biya has been in power for over 42 years or more. The situation in Cameroon does not improve on a daily basis. The situation in Cameroon always takes us to where we always end up in a crisis and in catch-22. These are the questions. Does corruption lead to conflict in Africa? That is the discussion coming next after a short breather. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome to our second segment. It is 3 minutes past 10 o'clock in German in our studio, and back in our studios in Nairobi and our studios in German. In Nairobi is 12:03. With me still in the studio to go through the second part of Africa. This touches the entire Africa. As you are aware, this week we have dedicated our support on the war against corruption in the entire African continent. Of course, the first hour was occupied with news and corruption instances in Kenya. We still have malpractices that have held us back as Africans. These malpractices have caused us a lot of damage to our infrastructure, to our schools, to our hospitals, to the roads, and to other industries, housing. The lack of medicine is because of corruption. Africa is endowed with quite a lot of resources, but each year Africa loses because of corruption. Today I will concentrate on the conflict in Amazonia. In Amazonia, it started as a conflict triggered by corruption. The founding fathers of Cameroon, Ahidjo, and others did not realize the need for the special arrangements that existed in Amazonia. Amazonians have been there for centuries and centuries as noble people from that regime, from that government and that country. It is not their mistake that they chose to speak English. Neither is it a mistake that Amazonians chose to be as they are and who they are, with dignity, that they yearn for liberty, they yearn for fraternity, that they yearn for, and the equality that they yearn for. The conflict triggered by corruption because of the resources that were much needed in Yaoundé, but the Yaoundé governments that ended up handing over power to the current president Paul Biya are the triggers of the conflict that we see today. Amazonians want a state of their own because they are not equally being treated properly in a country called Cameroon. They are denied their rights, their liberty to associate, assemble, and choose their leadership. It is therefore very, very important for the people of Africa to understand that the mess that has been created by corruption in Africa dates way back. And this has come on building until today. As you shall see in the question of Biafra and Nigeria and the river states and the Delta conflict that we are going to see after this. The conflict, therefore, in Amazonia needs an international intervention. They need people to come in and ask why human rights are being abused. We want to take this opportunity to thank the British government for having listened to our petitions and accepted to be part and parcel of the willing coalition that is going into to pressurize President Paul Biya to give people the dignity, the humanity that they deserve. Viewers, our children, our women, our grandchildren, our fathers and our mothers that are suffering in ground zero in Amazonia deserve prayers. The looting, the raping, the destruction, the murder, the torture, the imprisonment without trial that is taking shape in Amazonia deserves condemnation. We therefore call upon African governments, especially the government of Kenya and the Uganda, that are experiencing a huge influx of Cameroonian refugees who are coming into these countries as a result of the war in Cameroon, to put pressure on President Paul Biya to ask why are very many of your nationals ending up in our countries. African Union should wake up, stand up, and go and resolve the conflict. Talk about it. Reprimand Paul Biya for the abuse of human rights, that abuse of all kinds, for the destruction of life in Amazonia. We call upon the heads of states of African countries to come in now. It is now or never. It is now or never. Because if you wait, the region is soon going to full-scale war that will need another serious international intervention before it goes or before it stops. Viewers, that is the basis of why we are here, calling upon you, those who can contribute to the cause. You can see those watching from our satellite can see the numbers and contribute to the cause of the humanitarian cause to the people of Cameroon, of Amazonia, who need blankets, who need all sorts of things in order to survive, medicines. Internet has been cut off. So you need this means of transmission of information that can reach these people in ground zero in Amazonia. Thank you very much. Now I turn myself to one of the countries in Africa that has had long-lasting running conflict. As we speak today, Nigeria still has the biggest element of conflict, of regions that are under armed conflict. Miriam, you know very well, you read about the Delta region.
Yes.
The killing of Ken
Sarawiwa, yes.
Sarawiwa,
the leader of the Ogoni people.
Yeah, Ogoni people. This conflict, today I'm going to show you pictures that I have sent to Fred to bring on the screen. I sent something from Nigeria, the horror package, how these rebels have been forming, how people have been resisting the central government for a long time. But there is one thing that I said yesterday, that all the coups in Nigeria, like it or not, all the military coups that took place in Nigeria were as a result of corruption.
Yes, indeed.
Buhari yesterday said he will never forgive Obasanjo and Babangida for what they did to him. That's what Buhari said. He said he will never forgive Obasanjo and he will never forgive Babangida. It shows to you that even Buhari, a president, a sitting president, is not willing to reconcile with General Obasanjo. And I've been telling people that these conflicts in Africa, most of them erupt because of corruption, money. The fight between Obasanjo and Buhari is money. It is not the interest of the people of Nigeria. The fight between Babangida and Buhari is still one overthrew the other. And they have never reconciled. And that's why I'm telling you, corruption is at the center of why the reconciliation has not taken place. In fact, if Babangida had a chance, he could come back and overthrow Buhari. And the way the events are going in Nigeria today, you don't doubt the old generals
coming back,
teaming back and coming back and taking on Mr. Buhari. Mr. Buhari has refused to listen to the advice of the people of Nigeria. He butchers people. Boko Haram has taken 3/4 of the country. He has sent his tribesmen down in Igbo land to kill the Christians. And that is becoming a religious war perpetuated by the state against other religious denominations. Buying long daggers to kill people. How do you buy 50,000 knives? Are there goats to slaughter?
Even if there were ghosts, you don't need that much daggers, I think. And when you look at the map that the information that production just showed up there, just showing how much violence, you know, the sporadic violence that happens across Nigeria, it's pretty worrying. I think the red marks showed in a year or a certain period of time what really happens in Nigeria. And so there's always a trigger, there's always a violence and a conflict expected in some parts of Nigeria. And we talk about a place like the Ogoni people, which I think are just one of a few, it's a minority in Nigeria. It has been very much so been affected by the violence. And remember their leader, Ken Saro-Wiwa, who was also murdered. He was actually hanged by then President and dictator Sani Abacha because he was fighting for his people. They had the oil, and yet the government allowed a company like Shell to come drill the oil and take it, and the young men there, the women there, the children there could not benefit. And this Ken Saro-Wiwa said, no, this is another level of corruption that we cannot agree to happen. If you're going to get our oil, if you're going to drill our oil, we need also to benefit. And outside of that, of course, the central government could not hear any of that. And so that costed him his life. So you can see how much corruption can cause conflict and even cost people their lives.
Yes.
Because when such things are not really addressed. And as
I wish people in Kenya, could understand that the corruption can create you a big conflict.
Because if I see you're taking food from my mouth,
yes,
and I am not supposed to say anything about it,
yes,
I'm going to uprise. I'm going to try to speak and say, no, this is not right. And you're taking it illegally. You're taking it in ways that is fraudulent, and other people are going to benefit. In fact, after they protested so much, Shell had to really close down that part of Nigeria, and they stopped their stations, they stopped drilling, they stopped getting the food. And until now, the government just let, I think the fuel is still, Shell promised to clean even the environment, because the fuel had been let to just flow, and it's affecting the lives of people from the Ogoni region, and the government has done nothing. So it is just that level of corruption, that level of people feeling like, why is it that, I'm being marginalized in my own country? That we see even a section of Nigeria from, say, Biafra land, they come out and say, no, this is not right. You cannot continue to treat us like this. You cannot continue taking from us in ways that are not okay, in ways that are fraudulent, and we're supposed to just sit down. Then allow us to just self-rule, allow us to be self-independent, because corruption causes such situations, and when such situations arise, then there's bound to be conflict, and when there's bound to be conflict, people start speaking for themselves, and that is a problem.
Indeed. Thank you very much. The trigger. At the end of the day, the Ogoni people did not benefit from...
They don't even benefit, right?
From the oil proceeds.
Yes.
Look at that type of pollution.
Environmental degradation, yes.
Yes, that is pollution that you see in the Ogoni area of Nigeria, where Kenny Saro-Wiwa was killed.
Was killed, yes.
The Ogoni people have never, benefited. Abacha slaughtered very many of them.
Yes.
Killed many.
Do you know this is presently now?
Yes.
This happens.
Yes.
So you can imagine how many kids are affected by this oil spilling. So the government decided, okay, fine, you're not going to benefit. So they left the tunnels that were left. Nobody takes care of them. They spill oil, and that is a problem. Corruption. We refuse this thing to benefit you. So we'd rather just, have it wasted like that. So. But
when you look at the areas in Africa where oil is, we have a conflict.
Resources.
Look at Turkana, for example, in Kenya. We still have people dying on top of the surface. People are dying eating camel skins. The skin of the camera is being eaten. It's a conflict. If you look in Uganda, still there is a very serious tension in the Albertan region where oil is. The people there who used to live together, who were happy, everybody is a rush, is a run for the money, is a run for the land. The resource is done under, and the people would like to keep running and running to pick what they can have. And worse still, in Africa, most of these places, the oil has not even been brought out of the surface. For us in Uganda, we are just thinking of taking the samples, maybe this year or next year. But already you can see the type of tension that is surrounding the oil. In Kenya, you can already see people demanding that before it goes, you give us our percentage. So it begs one question. Is this oil a curse.
The natural resources are there. I mean,
Is it?
Yes, and not just the oil, even the DRC, Congo, and these other
Look
countries.
at that, all these
They're
natural.
endowed with
And I think
natural
God was very careful to keep these resources very far. I think we are the human beings who are becoming very naive, going to look for these resources. If you look in South Africa, for example, the entire South African economy relies on diamonds and gold. What economy has South Africa got? What is it? Show me.
It made the white people didn't want even to leave.
Yes.
To English
so
power.
the diamonds, that is what God hid the diamonds and the gold elsewhere, and they created a conflict.
Yes.
Corruption within the De Beers, selling the biggest amounts of diamonds and the gold worldwide, has created us what we see today.
Yes.
And therefore, our conclusion on this matter is corruption triggers conflicts.
Yes, indeed. And of course, on top of that, we have greed, we have oppressive governments. And of course, when people are in power and they lead, they want to protect what we have. And a lot of these things they have acquired, they've not acquired it in a legal way. So they want to protect it by all means possible. And of course, Africa has perfected the idea of getting into the leadership. We get into power, and after you've got into power, by all means necessary, now you have to protect it by all means possible. And on top of that,
and
you have to
stay in power.
Yes, and stay in power.
Because if you leave, somebody will ask how many barrels
will come for your corrupt proceeds.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is one of the reasons bad governance is caused through a corruption. Once corruption encourages bad governance, which is a key to understanding the conflict in and between African nations
right now.
Yeah, it's correct. Look at Chad. The next country we look at is Chad. The current president of Chad is Idris Deby. And his rebel group, the Patriotic Salvation Movement, overthrew the former president of Chad, Hissène Habré, in 1990, with military support from both the Sudanese and the Libyan government.
And after coming to power, what he did?
In 2005, he campaigned for a referendum that amended the constitution, thereby extending the presidential term.
Which is another form of corruption.
Corruption. Look, this is Africa.
Does not fit me, so let me have it amended so that it suits me.
Most of the presidents amending the constitutions.
Yes, it's corruption.
Are doing corruption.
Yes.
There's a lot of corruption under it because they don't want to leave. If you leave, how you don't know whether you will survive tomorrow.
So it allowed him to win, and is still in power until today, Idris Deby. And I don't think anybody's talking about him leaving in Chad. I don't think he's planning even to leave.
I don't think.
To relinquish power.
The only challenger to his leadership was the current AU chairperson, Musa Muhammad Faki.
Yes.
Mausi Muhammad Faki, who apparently has now a French sellout, who has now been thrown out of Chad. He can't campaign properly. So, as people from Africa, these are some of the nations that worry us every day. Another nation that we want to look at is Rwanda. The conflict in Rwanda in 1994, by the way, they are celebrating their anniversary.
25 years now?
Yes, on 1st of April. It will be 25 years since the genocide took place. It is again corruption.
Yes.
In the Habyarimana oppressed the smaller groups of the Tutsi, marginalized them.
And when I feel like
took out everything from them, left them with nothing. That sparked the conflict that we saw that killed millions of people. But I want to thank President Kagame for reasserting, taking back Rwanda, putting it to the world map, which deserves encouragement and kudos.
Yes, and that also speaks to the nature of politics in Africa. It's more exclusive than inclusive.
Yes.
I want to protect mine. It's about my people. It's about this. And that's why you see even corruption in Kenya. You touch somebody, that is my person. What has my people benefited? And that is what happened in Rwanda, because part of the Rwandese felt, I'm not included in this government. My community is not benefiting. I've been marginalized. I'm not, things are different. And so that triggered a sense of, why am I being excluded? I want to be part of, and I think that speaks of a lot of African leadership, especially in different countries in Africa, where the politics are mostly exclusive rather than inclusive. So maybe that, if that should change, maybe some of these conflicts around Africa could be reduced, probably.
It could.
Yes.
You are right. And let's take, Fred, I've sent you a clip. There's a clip, a video from one of the bishops in Ghana.
Oh, bishops in Ghana?
Yes. And I do my research, my dear.
All right.
I don't sleep. I do my research.
You should sleep is good.
No, I sleep for only a few hours.
Few hours is how many?
They say if I go to bed by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I wake up by 3.
Not bad.
3 hours. With my age,
yes.
I start working at 4.
Yes.
That's why you see all this preparation, Miriam. I do them, I go through them, I come well organized.
All right.
Then by the time you arrive here and you do what you have done, for example,
yes.
which is, group work. Very nice.
Thank you.
I go over these things. Now let's bring that clip. Miriam has talked about what can we do in Africa to avoid conflict. This bishop in Ghana is talking about the future of Ghana politics and maybe the future of African politics. Does Africa need election? Okay. If the video is ready.
Yes. Well, once it's ready, you will let us know as we wait. Marcel, you're saying oil is never a curse. It is the leadership in Africa that is a curse. Our leaders are corrupt, and on an industrial level, there's still anything of value. Africa needs a thorough leadership overhaul, and this overhaul can only be carried out by youth until the youth, decide to take it up and decide their destiny. We are going nowhere. Thank you so much, Marcel, for joining us.
Is for us to have national coalitions from all political parties who are thinking about the institution. No way right now. I believe, contrary to what he may say, and I'm a Ghanaian, and I have my constitutional right to speak as I will. I believe that one of the things that will help the nations of Africa is for us to have national coalitions from all political parties.
We are thinking about the institutionalizing the national agenda.
Yes, come together, get traditional leaders, religious leaders, labor, business community, the youth, even the army, bring them all together. Let's have and let's come together with the national agenda of what we want in this country. For instance, in Rwanda, it's a law that nobody sleeps in mad houses.
Nobody.
You don't build a mad house. You pull it down. It's against the law. Let's have a national agenda, people, that we work on. And let's agree that the next 25 years, there will be no, what do you call it? Every 4 years election. No election. 25 years, no election.
This is
every 5 years.
I like that. I like
every
that
5 years, we should appoint a president.
Appoint
a president from among
the people,
the parties that have formed a national coalition. So these 5 years is your party.
Next 5 years.
Next 5 years is our party.
25 years.
Yes. And
no election.
No election.
No party politics.
No party
no
politics.
rallies.
No rallies. And our agenda is follow, execute, perform the national agenda for the sake of the next generation. What we are doing right now, we are not going anywhere.
We are not.
Watch this. I'm telling you, what we are doing right now. I want you to stand. Let me show you something. Just stand. If I'm in opposition, just face this way. If I'm in opposition and you are in office, I hold your leg like that. Try to move.
Yeah.
Try to move.
I cannot move.
Try to do something. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I will make sure I circumvent you and sabotage you until you leave office.
Wow.
And when you also come,
same thing.
I will also do the same to you. So I don't wish you well, you don't wish me well. So the nation is bleeding. The nation is bleeding and no continuity, because when you come, everything I've done, you have to condemn it and let the people know that I was a failure, I was a disappointment, and you have come to fix it. Then when you come and face the reality of what is on the ground, you realize that it's not easy to fix this thing. And then I'm also going to make sure I expose you and let people know that you circumvented me to come, so you must not succeed, and I'll make sure you fail, so I'll come again. So the vindictiveness continues, the hatred continues, the bitterness continues. We are dividing people. I have people in this church who are family. Some are NDC, some are MPP, and sometimes it's amazing to see how they relate to one another.
Because of politics.
Because of politics. We are dividing the churches. The churches are divided. Husband and wives. One is NDC, one is MPP.
Brothers
and sisters, and the hatred and the bitterness, and sometimes the arguments, the way they argue and the things they say. Are people in this church MPP people in this church, when NDC was in office and I used to pray for President Mahama, you should see how they attacked me. They used to come to my office here and attack me and say, what is your problem? And some people will even tell you, stop praying for them, let them fail. When we come, we'll fix the problem. And I look at them and I say, what kind of a thinking is this? Now that NDC is gone and MPP has come, and I'm praying based on scripture, it's a command. And the Bible said, the prophet Samuel said, he said, woe is me to sin against the Lord by not praying for you. And he says, sin not to pray for your leaders. And it's clear in the New Testament and the Old Testament. But there are Christians in this church, in my own churches, who, because of their political parties and what they believe their parties can accomplish and everything, praying for the present government, are angry with me.
Really?
And yeah, they're angry and they tell me. They're angry with me. And some of them say, I don't even pay my tithe.
So you think we should do this 25-year plan?
We have to do it. Because you know what?
No election.
I'm telling you something. There is a wind coming.
Wow.
And it's not 2019. It will begin after 2020 going.
After 2020, there's a wind coming.
There's a wind coming. The Arab uprising is coming.
Here.
It's coming. It's coming.
By the youth.
It's coming not just to Ghana, West Africa, all over, if we don't do something. Because you see, look at a lot of these youth. They've graduated from school. They are home, no job. Some of them, you go to these car washing places, you see 10 young men who have graduated from university washing one car. And then they have to wait for some hours before another car comes. Some of them live in these kiosks. You know, we have kiosk estates these days.
Yeah.
Opposite the wealthy areas.
Yeah.
And they know the people who live in the community. They went to school, some of their kids. Some of them know the families. They have nothing. Suddenly they go into politics and they have everything. And they drive the best, they fly the best. Their children go to school abroad and everything. And they're sitting down there and looking at all of this and saying, hey, wow, this thing is interesting. After a while, if we don't give them hope, that's why I'm going back to the schools.
To speak to them.
And I'm engaging the youth again. Because if we don't give them hope and a sense of direction, the most dangerous thing in life is to fight somebody who has nothing to lose. They don't have wives, they don't have children, they don't have cars, they don't have lands, they have no hope, nothing to live for, they don't mind dying.
So our politics...
Thank you very much. That was a bishop in Ghana talking about national coalitions or African. Do we need political parties?
Wow.
Do we need elections? Are elections not a root cause of conflicts? in these elections, there is corruption. There's corruption that kills these elections. And the last word that the bishop used there is the worst part of your life is to fight somebody
who is hopeless, that
has nothing to lose. Fellow Africans, fellow Kenyans, fellow Ugandans, fellow Tanzanians, fellow Zimbabweans, the worst part for leaders in these countries and in this region of Africa is to fight somebody who has nothing to lose. If we take that doctrine, we would not be having Malema, because Malema has nothing to lose. We will not be having Mr. Zimbabwe man Chamisa. He has nothing to lose. We would not be having Bob Wine. He has nothing to lose. He's a musician. He doesn't care. He can go, you stop him, he's going to play music and even irritate you more. Even if you take him in America and Britain, where they love him most, or America, where they love him and even give him audience, he has nothing to lose. The worst thing is to fight a person, somebody who has nothing to lose. The people in Kenya, this warning is very important to you. Perhaps we are fighting people who have nothing to lose. Perhaps we are fighting people who are on borrowed time. Who knows? Have we gone back in our hearts and started thinking seriously that the war that we are waging against corruption, that's why today I suggested today that perhaps the government tells some of these corrupt people that they have in their books to return some money to the bishops, to their religious leaders, and say, I've quietly brought this money, I want you to take it to EACC and repent. Let's look for other ways of how can we stop the menace in Africa of corruption. Because everywhere in Africa, it is corruption that has brought a conflict. If you look at the Kenyan scenario here, it is corruption that is brewing why MPs want to see the president before he comes to address them. What do you think? Why are the MPs calling the president for? It's because corruption has entered within the Jubilee Party. Some section of some members within the Jubilee Party in Kenya have practiced corruption, that they have ended up, triggered a conflict. Yes, and that's the truth. Let's talk the truth about these things. You saw the bishop himself telling you.
Yes, and I think I just gathered a few wisdom from the good bishop, and I think he's made it very clear, especially when he gave the example of the youth. And you go to, you'll find that a lot of graduates are out there in the streets, and you go to a car wash, the example that he just gave. And out of a number of the youth you'll find there, maybe 10 are graduates. They have a university degree. They have been tarmacking for a very long time. They have no jobs. And you'll find that 10 of them are fighting to wash one car. And then one car. Take away. So that really hit home, and I think that is a situation that is happening not just in Ghana. Is he a Ghanaian? Not just in Ghana, but across Africa, indeed, and it's something that is happening. The
bishop was very right. Across Africa, in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda.
And so when I come back to the situation here in Kenya, or even across countries in Africa, and I think he's saying here that a revolution is inevitable, and I will agree with him, because the youth are tired, and I will speak as a youth in this country. When you wake up every morning, you've gone to school, you don't have a job, somebody bought, because they know somebody. Maybe you're in class with their kids, but then they've been able to be bought places and to find jobs in this country. Maybe they don't even qualify for those jobs. You've worked yourself up, you've gone to school, you have students' loans to pay, and at the end of the day, you're waking up to such headlines there. What do you think these people out there are thinking? And then you're qualified, you're overly qualified, you're somewhere washing cars at a car wash, and I have no problem with people who wash car wash. I think if you can earn a living and you're earning it legally, it's well and good. But sometimes the unfairness in the society, the unfairness, the injustice that we see, because that level of it is an injustice. So when you brought that and you said that the state of hopelessness, so this youth will come to a place where they feel, I have nothing to lose. I have no family. I can't marry because I cannot afford to take care of a family. I do not have a job. I do not have I have nothing to look forward to. I do not have a tomorrow to look forward to. That is a very dangerous person. And that's why you see a lot of youths in Africa, and especially in Kenya, they're lured to join Al-Shabaab. They're lured to join these militant groups because really these are people who are hopeless.
Yes,
they have nothing. So it's easy to hire them.
You are right, Miriam.
Yes.
Most of these problems, why you have the youth joining bad groups that come out to blow people, jobs are not available.
And they'll say, you know,
corruption has eaten most of the country.
This leader steal my money. You know what? I'll go and be a suicide bomber.
Yes.
And I'll come show them.
Yes.
That is the attitude they have, the state of hopelessness. And I think when this pastor was speaking, the bishop, that is what really registered in my mind. And also when he started with the politics of vindictiveness, how right was this man? Because we don't want to see, like a lot of people right now, I'm sure they'll be happy not to see President Uhuru Kenyatta succeed. Because next time when we campaign, we want to use it as a platform to say, you know what, this is what he said. Okay, the big four, he should tell us what he's done. And behind the scenes, they've been working so hard to make sure that this does not succeed. When the next leader comes in, we make sure they do not succeed. So you wonder, this politics that we play in Africa, is it supposed to really benefit us as the citizens of Africa? What is the purpose of politics?
Yes, I have asked that question.
We can't benefit.
And you remember last week, I asked Professor PLO Lumumba. He couldn't answer me. I've asked him twice, do we need elections? Does Africa need elections, really? If elections are going to divide us, if elections are going to make us fight, if elections are making this country impossible to be governed, if elections are making people to impeach, if elections are making people to hate the president,
yes.
If elections are making people to make apathy against the president, do we need elections in Africa? The bishop in Ghana has said it all. Let's get all the groups of people and they say, in the next 25 years,
yes.
That group will lead 5 years, that group will lead 5 years, that group will lead 5 years.
Politics of inclusivity.
Yes, inclusive politics. The way Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta are positioned. But you can see in this country, in Kenya where we are, some people have gone to criticize President Uhuru Kenyatta for having shaken the hand with Raila Amolo Odinga. And yet this country was going to the dogs. Yet this country was going to a fighting mood. Yet this country, the youth were ready to come for me and blow me out in my residence. Yet this country, some people were even imagining of partitioning it into two parts. Yet this country, people were ready to tell others not to pass into their region. Yet, above all, in this country, father and the mother and the child and the daughter were not seeing eye to eye because of political enmity.
Yes.
So therefore, the question that I beg to pose to Africans, conflicts are triggered because of elections. In Uganda, we are now a bit peaceful. But next year, the mood starts because 2021, President Museveni will have to campaign, which I've already told you that we have no chances. We don't have any chance of winning an election. My in opposition is coming here tomorrow to Mombasa to have a meeting with President Uhuru on matters of trade, bilateral issues. Look, he will continue with his legacy. Because what is it? People have found out that substituting Museveni with political parties that are not united. Remember, not united. You in Kenya, you are very lucky you have Raila Odinga as the uniting factor. He unites all these guys. Kalonzo can scream up to River Yala or Yatta. But Mudavadi can scream up to River on Zoya River. But he was brought on a table where Tangula can scream to Mount Elgon top. But he was brought to table to sit down because of Raila Amolo Odinga. That's a unity. That means a person has people. The people who are insulting the president because of this handshake, please think again. Think seriously.
And while we do the thinking, I think there's some valid points here our viewers are raising. And Marcel, I'll just read part of your comment and just saying, I'll just pick it from somewhere in between there. Can we pick China as an example? In 20 years or about, China was poor. Today, only in 20 years, China has been able to move millions of her people from poverty. The first thing China did was to make corruption and bribery a death sentence.
Exactly. And Luke Zhao says, Alex Jr. said what the Ghanaian bishop said is what he said also about Zimbabwe. Why did Zimbabwe hold the elections when they knew it was going to divide the people and they were not going to hand over power to the winner? You see, that is one of the comments from Zimbabwe.
They used the money they did not even have.
They used the money that they did not have, and the people had no more problems. Indeed, it goes to see my theory of pumping up.
And that is why, so if you did not have the money, so that means some donors came in and some countries came in to support the elections. And when they come in, they will have a stake in those elections. You cannot tell them, no, we don't need election observers. We don't need. They will tell you what to do because they're paying. If I'm paying for your roof and for your food you're eating, I have a right to have an opinion on how you live your life.
I think so.
Yes.
And I think this gentleman raises a very good point. Ajabu Mohammed Jabi.
Yes.
He said in Sierra Leone, I think we must cluster these countries in two different clusters.
Yes, and he starts by saying, yes, we do need elections. I think it depends on the country. Like my home Sierra Leone and a couple of other countries are enjoying elections, and we have changed. So we have
changed the leaders.
Elections work.
There are some where the leaders change without any fight.
Yes.
But there are some so deadly, like my country.
It's very deadly.
It's very dangerous. Because now when it comes to 2022, that's why for me I even opted out.
Yes.
I don't want to be party to it.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anything about the elections in Uganda. Don't bring it near me. My own MP has complicated a lot of matters about my election, because about this election. He is one of the few. Can you imagine how God is not very lucky?
God is not
why I'm not lucky at all.
What happened?
My own MP becomes one of the most outstanding MPs that opposes the government of President Museveni. And yet, in that constituency, there is another man who is already out for a long time who was opposed. So what do you tell? You can't even tell Museveni that I am not the one, because the younger man is my relative. So what do I do? Look, the politics of elections, I don't want to know it. Completely. I don't want to know anything to do with elections, because elections in Africa bring dead bodies on the streets every 5 years.
All right, and Alfo Chichi, you're saying our political criminals and pen robbers are the problems of society today. We need sense in our digital brains and not analog. We must think about the future of our children. If not, what Bishop said will come true. That is very true. And Alfo, you're saying our dictator Paul Biya should know that Ambazonians are ready to die for their freedoms, and we shall never stop fighting. Ambazonians are ready to die and to be freed. And that happens when you've reduced people and you've cornered people and they feel they're helpless and they're hopeless. Then, conflict is inevitable, like what is happening now in Ambazonia.
Very bad. situation in Amazonia, you can't even criticize, categorize it. It is a state of complete anarchy.
That makes me wonder, Dr. Matanga.
Yes.
What exactly is the essence of politics? Why do we have politics if it's not for serving the people? Because if from what the bishop was explaining, when these leaders come to power, the opposition is just working overtime to prove that this is not the right leader. And then when they're given the opportunity to come to power themselves, they realize, oh, it's not that easy. You remember during Sonko and Kidero, when Kidero was the governor, I think he used to fight Kidero every day, every morning, like it was right, left, and you wouldn't even think they're in the leadership of the same county. And remember, he was his senator. Then after now Sonko came into power, he realized, oh, running Nairobi City is not an easy task, and he faced his own challenges. And so that is what happens in the bigger scheme of politics in Africa or even across the world. When there's a leader, the opposition is working overtime to really disapprove everything he does. So when you come into power, like what is happening with Trump, he now wants to remove the Obamacare completely. You want to remove everything your opponent did.
No, you can, but you can see the way they have fixed,
what is the essence of
the way they have fixed
really?
Trump.
Well, he's been...
Someone said Trump was helped by Russia to win an election.
Yes.
They put there a commission of inquiry.
Yes.
The prosecutor comes up to say he has no evidence to pin Trump. But the Democrats who want to take power said it's not yet over.
Yes.
We have to question whether there was some limit.
But see, the AG did not say that the report exonerates him completely, but they said they did not find collusion.
Yes.
Yes, only the collusion part that Trump has been talking about. But even that aside, in Africa, or in oppositions even just across the world, if your opponent did a good job, like what Kibaki did, and laying down the foundations of Vision 2030 and a blueprint that saw technocrats come together and lay a very good vision for this country in the next few years, and every president that came after that was supposed to really follow that in terms of development and things like that. And we saw he laid the foundation for really good infrastructure in Kenya, and we applaud him for that. Now, if President Kenyatta would have come and tried to rubbish what President Kibaki had done, that would not have been very good for the country. So why do you always find a need to discredit what the other person is doing, even if it's the right thing? The politics in Africa, basically. Why?
Those are that's a very serious question.
Why?
That needs answers. Yes. And believe me or not,
yes,
we need to take this question is very seriously.
Yes.
Why do we have elections?
If politics is not serving us,
yes,
do we even need it?
We don't need it. Yes. We need to go back to what the bishop was saying.
Yes.
And I sit all the people, the disabled, the women, the men, the trade unions, industrial unions, teachers unions, sit down.
Yes.
Politicians, we say,
but we don't trust each other.
We might trust each other.
We should learn to trust
each other. Yes. We drew a plan of 25 years.
Yes, yes.
We said the first 5 years or 4 years,
let this person
let this group
lead us.
Yes. We all agree we go for security ballot inside the hall to vote.
Yes.
You don't need to bring civilians. You don't need the entire population of Uganda to vote. You need those people you have brought to Kampala to vote for that president.
Because democracy so far is not even...
You don't need MPs. Yes. Don't bring MPs. They can come in those groups. Because each society, each social format has got its own category. There will be the disabled, the war veterans, the UPDF. Let's have just that in the whole place, in one stadium, and they say now we have 25 years to lead the country. We want group number one.
This amount of years.
Yes. 3 years, 3 years,
yes.
3 years, 3 years. After that, we come back again.
And let's make a blueprint that will lead us for these 25 years and what we intend to achieve as a country.
Exactly.
So everyone who comes in, they continue with
because I don't see the use of elections in Africa. In fact, that is now going to be my topic. Forever.
All right.
Does Africa need elections? Tonight, I like going for it. Tonight, does Africa need elections? Do we need elections in Africa? If we are in our own party, Jubilee came and made a party called Jubilee. No sooner had they won an election than they dismantled this party structure. Okay. If you go to the party headquarters now, it is only a rat and a cat that you can see chasing each other. Yes. Because even the rat, even the rat has lacked food to eat. There is nobody in the office working. Nobody can hold a press conference there. Nobody. Do we need political parties in Africa? Do we need elections in Africa? That is today talking point. Can we put it under? Anyway, you will work on it for me. Yes. Yes. All right. It could be even unfiltered. Do we need elections? I'll do with a Matanga Africa perspective. All right. Yes. And Marcel, just before we leave, you're saying, Dr. Matanga, can we have this discussion in a shared forum where we can all the youth all come across Africa and we can discuss our future? This may be hard, but it is a dream possible. It's actually, yes, I think African youth especially, they're trying to look for ways in which, the system can work for them, because so far the whatever we've been having has not been working very well in favor of the young people of Africa as a whole. So whatever that can work and whatever that seems to promise a better leadership and a better standard of living, especially for the young people, I think is welcome. So Marcel, thank you so much. As we continue with this conversation, of course, I think we'll continue giving more details, and as we work on the evening show, probably you can join us, and then we'll have all the details. But for now, thank you very much. Yes. The truth is that corruption in Africa has triggered conflicts. Yes. Those countries that are undergoing the purge against corruption must safeguard themselves from plunging themselves into conflicts. It is true that factors, especially people allegedly to be or having been caught up in one format of embezzlement of cash, they tend to defend and become defensive. And therefore... And hold on to power. Hold on to power. Yes. Wherever you are in Africa, these things are happening in your country. Check on them. Do people accept when they have taken money? What other methods can we use to retrieve the stolen money without creating a conflict? That comes to the end of our show. We want to thank everybody who has been listening to us. And coming next is none other than the African Kitchen at 3 p.m. I'll be doing the African Kitchen. The menu is chicken and rice by Dr. David Matanga. I'll be his sous chef. I'll be helping. There will be a sous chef. A sous chef helps. The African kitchen, here. All right. I think I need to exercise. Okay. What do you think? I need to exercise some. To exercise? Exercise, yes. Okay. Yeah. All right, good. African Kitchen, 3 p.m. Don't miss it. Chicken and rice prepared by Dr. David Nyekorach Matanga. Oga from Igbo. And the Cameroonians call me Taku. Taku. What does that mean? Amazonians call me Taku. What does Ask that mean? Aluf. Alfu, please, what does Taku mean? And while you tell us that, you really want to thank you so much today for all your contribution and your valued company that you've given us on the show today. So hopefully you can meet at 3 p.m. for the African Kitchen. Dr. Matanga will be your main chef. I'll be his sous chef. I'll help him, and I'll just sit there and wait to taste what he'll be making. But for now, from me, it is bye-bye. Wallahi. Wallahi ya Mungu.
Yes.
Bye bye. This station therefore is for Africa. With Africa, we want to thank all the people in Berlin, in our station, in the satellite system. Thank you very much. We meet in Germany next month. I will be there addressing the main conference in Germany. And I will be one of the key speakers. Come and see how I unite people for a total victory, which is about to come in Amazonia. Don't give up the struggle. This station, therefore, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.